If you're always out here having good ideas, why aren't you rich yet? I know that's just a joke, obviously, but that's part of the reason that I started this channel in the first place. A lot of people have been asking me, Chris, what's the point of doing all this? Why are you starting a YouTube channel? And the reason that I have to give them is I've done patents for several years. I've seen their effects for large companies, what I do for clients on a daily basis. And I've also seen how the process works for individuals. And it's been an interesting ride. So I have a little bit of a story that I want to tell. And the best way that I can do it is just by an example of, let's call this guy John. And so John made a little bit of money in his normal full-time job, and he decided that it wasn't really for him, the corporate life, and decided to go out on his own so that he could start and try and find his own thing by doing basically whatever he found interesting at the time. So John went out on his own, and he started this thing that had a touch point to what he did at the company, but wasn't really the same thing. And he ended up loving that and started a business surrounding that very idea that he had while he was working his engineering job. So I was fortunate enough to work with John, and what was interesting to see was he was just this solo guy on his own doing these business things, but he was one of our clients, and we were a very large firm handling patents for some of the biggest companies in the world that made a ton of money. And I was thinking, it's interesting that John is taking advantage of this system that the government has, and why don't more people do something like that? Now, one of the interesting things is that John was a serial entrepreneur after he started this company on his own. He found success in it. He ended up selling the business at some point in time, but John at any given time was doing a bunch of business things, all of which had patents as a baseline behind it, supporting the business, and all of which he filed with us. John made a lot of money from those patents. And John wasn't making small money, right? Some of these companies were valued at millions of dollars, and the patents that he got with us did not cost not even close to millions of dollars. And it was interesting to see how he kind of went from an idea phase to something that was producing money for him, sometimes with varying levels of actual tangible business behind it. Some of the businesses were full-fledged businesses operating day to day. Some of them were just ideas that he would sell off. And it was pretty cool to see from an individual person that was really using this thing that I was doing on a day-to-day for big companies to his advantage to make a really good living for himself. So when I took that step back and I thought, why is this so hard for people to get behind? What is it about patents, this thing that I know and love and that I do day to day? Why is it so hard for regular people to take advantage of that? I know a bunch of people who have great ideas all the time, and they're not making a ton of money off of it. So what could be done to make that easier for them? What could be done to take their ideas and turn it into money? And when I started to really think about the individual, when I started to think about the normal person who is just going about their life, I realized that the system really is complicated. It's not easy to handle. It's not easy to understand, let alone get into it and use it to your full advantage on a day-to-day. And that's whether you're just a normal person who has never thought about business or never thought about patents, or you're even just maybe a newcomer who is just starting out their first business, or even if you're a CEO or entrepreneur who's done business before, but never really availed yourself to the patent system. The point is that in the end, it's not easy to just jump into this. And to be clear, it's not easy for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of government things you got to understand. There's a lot of system things you got to understand. let alone the fact that you have to actually understand the process and what it takes to go from an idea to a patent application to a full-fledged patent, and what that even means. I could make that statement to 20 people, and maybe a handful of them might understand the nuance behind that. Some of them won't even get it at all. And I think that's fine. I don't think that normal people should. But it would be nice to have something where the normal person can go and turn their idea into something great. I'm a believer that the system shouldn't be just left to these big money and kind of big guy actors that are able to put all of their brain power, or have specialized brain power, really, to put behind getting a patent. I think that the system is made for everyone, and it should be for everyone. So if I have the knowledge to use the system, why can't I go and give that knowledge to you all so that you can use the system just like I can? Now, I should caveat and say I've done this for a while. It's literally my job. I think that I can do it pretty well, and I would like to say that I could do it better than the average person for obvious reasons. But that's not to say that you can't do it too. And that's the point that I'm trying to get across. It's not out of your reach. It's not something that, oh, it's too hard for me, I'll never be able to do it. I know that you can do it. You just need the resources to help you. And so that's what I'm here to be. I want to be the resource who goes and tells the average person that if you have a great idea, and if you really think that that idea could be something, you can turn it into something that's valuable for you, even if you don't go and make a business behind it. Now, if you do want to make a business behind it, all the more better. I'm in full support of you protecting the thing that you want to do, and you should. I think that's a great idea. But my point is that you don't have to. The flexibility should be left up to you, just like it's left up to the big companies that are paying me to get their patents for them. And that's not for everybody. I don't think that everyone has to go and do their own patent. Maybe you go and find it easier to hire someone to file a patent application for you. Maybe you figure out through these resources that you don't want to spend the time doing all that. But that should be your decision to make. And if you think that the time is valuable, rather than paying somebody else, that you'd rather do it yourself, I think that that's the thing that you should do. So, taking a step back, summarize, why am I here? I think that you're probably a smart person. I think that you should be able to use the patent system to your advantage. And I don't think that it's as complicated as it seems on its face. With just a little bit of walkthrough and just a little bit of knowledge, I think that you can turn your idea into something valuable. That's what this channel is about. That's what I'm here to do. And if you find that valuable, I hope you'll stay with me. So quick little about me. I'm a licensed attorney. I'm a registered patent practitioner. So I'm a patent attorney registered with the USPTO, which is the Patent and Trademark Office. I do patent prosecution and procurement full-time, 24/7, 365. That's everything that I've done for several years. I've gotten hundreds, if not more at this point, of patents accepted and granted, issued at the USPTO for clients of all sizes. I've worked with Fortune 550 companies. I've worked with individuals. I've worked pro bono in the patent space. I know a lot about patents, and it's sort of what I do all the time. So all of that is just to say, I'd hope by now I know my stuff. I've learned a lot going through this whole process and doing it time and time again. And I'd like to be able to give that back to not just the big name companies, but also to individuals who want to put their efforts behind this system that I think that they should be able to take advantage of. And I know that they could. So I hope you'll give it a like. I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll check out more videos. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Let's do this thing. Let's take some ideas and turn them into money.